Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Bughead Podcast. Before we get started with this interview, I just want to let everybody know that we do have patches for sale. I'll throw the link for them down in the description. Every patch purchase gets you access to the Discord server. So, go buy one. Alright, hello everybody. Welcome once again to the Bughead Podcast. This is episode 5, and I'm here with Necralant and Upside Records. What's up? How's everyone doing?
Doing alright.
Doing
Thanks for having us.
fantastic.
Having a wonderful Tuesday. Yes. Terrific Tuesday.
Can you all just introduce yourself real quick and tell me what you do in the band?
I'm Mark, I'm the singer. I'm Nolan, I'm the guitarist.
I'm Pookie, I'm the bassist.
I'm Jack, Hellhammers, also known as drums.
Alright, sick. So we're here in a basement known as Upside Records. Can you guys tell me what that is and what your sound it is?
It's a little like collective label that I started probably like give or take 6 years ago, and it's developed into what you see here is a very messy recording studio. We make a lot of noise, we make a lot of metal and punk, grindcore. It's kind of like one of those labels that's very incestuous, for lack of a better term. Everybody's playing in everybody's bands. Very reminiscent of, like, I don't know, how jazz bands used to make records, where everyone's like kind of helping each other out. So that's the soul of Upside, I guess, is very tight-knit circle. Everybody helps each other.
Alright. So I did a re-listen of your discography real quick before I came here. I noticed that the recording on Essence of Life Devoured was a lot more raw than on some of your previous work. Was that on purpose, or did you just break the recorder?
I just kind of like, we didn't have a lot of time. It was kind of more like a demo. We're re-recording it.
That's sick. I did like the raw kind of low fidelity nature of it. It definitely gave it kind of a atmospheric feeling.
That was because of the recording was really like rushed. I was kind of hungover.
Are you guys working on a project right now that's going to be part of, or is it just a single?
Yeah, we're going to be releasing a split with 5.5 Rats, which is another Worcester metal band that we're both in, and the Necralant side of it will have like an updated version of Essence of Life Devoured at the end of it.
That's sick. So what goes into like preparing a live show for Necralant? I saw you guys live in Salem pretty recently, and Mark, you were crawled up in the floor keening the entire time.
We do a
and
lot
it was
of magic.
really sick. Yeah.
A lot of the bands that I play in have like magical, ritualistic tendencies or aspects of our live performances, and Necralant is definitely one of them. Necralant, specifically that show, we did it's kind of like an individuation type thing between, like, I don't know, we had a lot of masculine and feminine symbols kind of like balancing each other out, and it's hard to explain, but definitely a intense ritual.
I think that brings a lot to the show. It would be one thing if you guys were just playing, that would be sick, but you guys definitely bring like a lot of theatrics.
Yeah, I've always liked bands like that go farther than just going up and playing the music, like to bring more of a show and more of a feeling to it, and something like to make it more of an experience for the audience and for the musicians.
It raises a lot of questions, though. I find that we did 2 shows recently where we did two different rituals because they were back to back, and one of them was a darker ritual, and the other one was supposed to be like light. And the first night, because I was doing a lot of it. The first night, a lot of people had asked me like what I had done because I'd made them feel a certain type of way, and like just brought out like more intense of a feeling than they normally felt. And a lot of people complimented us for that because you see a lot of people doing magic and it's just kind of like witch talk, and no hate to that, but not as in depth as a lot of like our magic and Necralant goes. So I got a lot of questions about it, and it was nice I got to actually like explain to people, because normally we do stuff and people just see it as like part of our image, but I think that made a lot of people realize that we're pretty deep into magic and it's not just for the appearance.
I can speak to those people in the audience that don't really know the ways of magic and occultism, because I'm not a practitioner of magic or occultism. But there was something in the air that night. You could tell. That was a really good one.
That was sick. And like, even if you guys weren't as serious about it as you are, that just having that like second level, having some lore behind the band, definitely piques people's interest more than just having music. Like, you could have the best music on earth, but if people, you need a little bit of like a story behind it, for it to really click with people.
I'm surprised less people asked about the spine. Not many people. Maybe they didn't have the balls to ask about it.
We did a couple shows recently where we had a full deer spine right at the front of the stage tied to a mic stand.
How'd you get the deer spine?
I found it rotting on the street.
Did you clean it off, or did you just...
No.
Fuck hell.
No, I just tied it to the thing, covered it in salt like a mummy. It's part of the ritual.
Alright.
It kind of fell right into our laps, though. So, I don't know. It's gone now.
Rest in peace, the deer spine.
Rest in peace.
You should have, like, kept it, put it up as a mantelpiece.
Yeah, it smelled like death. I don't know if you noticed, but, like, as soon as I pulled it out, everyone kind of backed up. I was like, oh.
I didn't see you pull it up, but I knew you pulled the tarp off of it because I could smell it.
It was right when you screamed. Oh yeah, I'm sure you could smell it.
Yeah, I could smell it. Unfortunately,
I couldn't get that smell out of my nose for like fucking days.
I could smell it for like the whole rest of the night, and I was like, ugh.
You guys also incorporate throwing blood at your audience. Do you guys have like a secret fake blood recipe, or is that just real?
No, it's the blood of my enemies.
Blood of your enemies? What's your main way of extracting the blood of your enemies? You got a
Torture.
weapon of choice?
Machete.
Machetes?
Prolonged torture.
Prolonged
Prolonged torture.
You're not supposed to be telling people that.
Sorry.
You're like snitching on yourself.
I know.
You're gonna get in trouble.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So, for most people, black metal isn't that easy of a genre to get into. Do you guys have like an introduction, a band that got you into the genre that you want to talk about?
Absolutely.
You're excited.
Yes. This is where I shine, metal talk. But
fuck yeah.
The first time I heard the debut Bathory album, I put it on, I was like, wow, this kind of sounds like Motorhead. And I loved Motorhead at the time. I loved thrash metal at the time. It's around when I was 13, 14. But yeah, I heard that first Bathory album, and it sounded like Motorhead, but there's something there. It's atmosphere. And that's the important thing about black metal, is atmosphere. And you can still rock and roll and keep atmosphere. And Nolan does a great job at making atmospheric rock and roll in black metal. That's my story.
Yeah, kind of similar. Like, I kind of went the natural progression of like thrash and death metal and stuff into like first wave black metal, like Bathory and Venom and all that, and then discovered all the classic like Norwegian stuff like Mayhem and Darkthrone and all that, and then just got more extreme as it went on. But those are kind of the bands that usually you'll discover first and get into first.
Yeah, a lot of people know this about me, but some people obviously might not. But my dad was into death metal and black metal in the 90s. He was in scenes around here. He actually used to party down here, have shows down in these hallways and shit, fill these hallways with people back in the 90s. So I've always really been into, I mean, maybe not into it, but I've always been around death and black metal, so I kind of grew up on that. Punk too, especially. My mom was into punk and grunge, but goth stuff.
You've been in a couple hardcore bands, right?
More metal bands. I've been in a lot of metal bands, a lot of noise acts.
I forget what the band was called, but I remember the first time I met you was at a show at the Bridge.
Yeah, I played in a bunch of bands. I'm not a huge fan of hardcore though. Personally, I kind of just fell into there at some point after COVID. I'm more focused on, metal and noise. It's my passion, like creating atmosphere. Really, that's like noise and black metal for me are what do that, and classical music. I've played piano my whole life, so I think that's where that comes from.
You don't see many people in the scenes like this shouting out classical music as an influence.
No, but that's definitely like where I get a lot of my personal like fucking Abigor, for example, that band from fucking who knows where. They're probably from all over the place. They very classically influenced. A lot of black metal is. It all comes from like Chopin's Funeral March and I mean, the list goes on. It's music is not original. No music is original. But I think that Zaster and Full of Hell and I hate to say it, but obviously Mayhem are like big first bands for me when it comes to black metal. Full of Hell is obviously like grindcore stuff, but I don't really see a difference between grindcore and black metal. It's all garbage.
Yeah, I think putting the genre terms are always good for like sorting your taste out, but I feel like when making music, you kind of have to throw them to the side and just like take everything from everything you like to make something that's really interesting. Mm-hmm. As you said, nothing's new, but like you can still find new combinations of things to throw out there.
Just make whatever feels right, man. It's art.
I pull from.
You can staple money to your chest and call it art and get famous on TikTok. It's like, just do what makes you happy. What happened? Why was the boy sad?
Why was the boy sad?
Because he had a frog stapled to his face.
That would make me sad if I had a frog stapled to his face.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the frog.
I remember my brother. When my brother was a little kid, he found a frog, and he wanted to have, fun with the frog, so we started throwing it down, the slide in our backyard over and over again, and it died.
Oh.
And, my mom yelled at him, and that's been, a striking memory in my brain. I had, a weird amount of frog stories. Remember we had, a shitty little inflatable, out-of-ground pool that we put chlorine in, and a frog jumped in, and all its skin melted off, and we found it the next day.
Oh, my God.
At my 10th birthday party.
Oh, no!
Dude, when I was, 10 or 11, people who will remain unnamed in my neighborhood one time slit a frog's throat open and put a bunch of fireworks in it and then threw it up in the air and blew it up.
You see, I...
True story. I was not one of those people. But...
I very luckily don't have any stories of, frogs being destroyed, but I feel like everybody has, one fucked up frog story where, they were too young to really understand what they were doing and, shot it with a BB gun or something like that.
I don't have a fucked up frog
I
story.
Okay, what's your fucked up frog story? Come on.
Well, so my brother was ding-dong ditching my neighbors.
Yeah.
And when they ran away, they stepped on a frog. And the frog was my favorite animal as a child, for sure, bar none. And I weeped. I weeped for the frog that my brother stepped on in the ding-dong ditch. And he lost his shoe on the way out of the ding-dong ditch, so he got caught. And then he had to... My mom made him write a letter to the people that he ding-dong ditched.
To the frog.
But yeah, that is one of the frog stories.
I think the apology needs to go to the frog. Nothing.
I agree.
Oh
I
my
agree.
god, I cannot say I have any fucked up frog stories. I have a fucked up beta fish story. Does that count?
Yes.
That counts.
Okay, when I was like, I don't even know how old I was, like 4 or 5, I really wanted a beta fish. And so my dad bought me one, and I didn't have naturally I didn't think to get a home for it before getting a beta fish. So I had this tiny, like, vase, like, flower vase, like, tiny, that I put this beta fish in. And then I, like, this whole thing is a nightmare. I accidentally dumped in the full, like, bottle of fish food in it, and then didn't try to get the fish food out. I just left it all in there. So the beta fish ate, like, pretty much all of the food that was in there, and I found it the next day, and it was, like, floating at the top, and it was, like, super, like, fat and pudgy, and I was like, oh my god, I'm a monster. And then I threw it in my backyard and didn't tell anyone because I was afraid that I was gonna get yelled at for
You're
it.
evil.
Well, beta fish are treated so poorly in pet. They're putting those in like tiny containers with no air.
Yeah.
Like they can live in that like that, but they're not.
But,
No friends.
yeah.
It's a lonely,
beta
like,
fish
painful
don't.
existence.
Beta fish don't have friends because they kill their friends.
It's
Yeah.
Like they're fine
Like
being
us.
solitary. It's just that it's like tiny little fucking. They put them in the cup you spit
Give 'em
into
a
at the
couple-
dentist.
Give 'em
Yeah.
a couple pebbles that you can play solitaire or something.
Yeah, you can like capture themselves. It's like wall ball.
Poor beta fish.
Alright, I'm gonna take a leak in the hallway.
The thing I can't like I'm pretty new to this. I've been in the band for like September it was, so I can't really speak to the music. Nolan's the music guy mainly, but I am a metal diehard.
Yeah.
I would ask Nolan about like how he first started Necralant and his influences and everything, because it's an interesting story, and he started off by writing like absolutely everything, and like it was like the core-thon of
The core-thon of Necralant.
Necralant.
The core. So you had like a like an idea sheet before you started the band.
No, I think they just meant like wrote everything like the actual music for it.
Oh,
Like,
okay. So you wrote like.
Your spliff.
What? Oh, you can hit the split.
Yeah, I've written up until very recently. I wrote like every note and word of the Necralant music, and on the first few albums, I played all the instruments and then marked the vocals. So yeah, we can talk about that a little if you want.
I really pressed him on letting me write some new lyrics for our new song, and I have a lot of fun with our new song. You can find it on YouTube already. People are already posting videos of it and learning how to play it and shit.
We gotta drop that shit before someone steals it.
Yeah,
We gotta drop it before the tour for sure.
I want to drop it before Spectral Wound.
Before Spectre. That might be tough.
Late May. We're just gonna record really soon.
Yeah, we gotta.
I could record like tonight. If you were like, let's set up a mic, I could record my whole split right now. Like literally right now, I could do it.
I mean, we'll worry about that later.
Do you want to talk about like your process for writing music a little bit?
Sure.
Well, okay, I'll start by the lyrics come from his hatred for the Catholic Church,
Partly, yeah.
partly.
Some of them.
I picked that up, but also from like ever aging and developing philosophies of all of us. I think a lot of magic, especially, comes into play with some of our songs. Some of them are just fun or angry, but some of our songs are like spells in themselves. Like Essence of Life Devoured, he wrote that one, but that's like a very powerful spell. Evil Star of Set, that's a powerful spell, but it's the one I wrote. He wrote all the words. I mean, he wrote all the instruments.
Yeah, the music stuff. Yeah, all the lyrics except for the latest song, "Evil Star Upset," were written by me, and it's mostly based on my like interests and practice in like the occult, and then also like my
Disdain is a better word than hatred.
my disdain for several things, and my
Church.
just
Like the church.
Like
church, for example.
Did you grow up in the church, or?
Yeah, I grew up Catholic. I was sent to Catholic school as a kid, and just like in that whole thing. And I so sometimes I'll channel that kind of background into my music, and then it just probably influenced my views growing up. But I've been getting more philosophical with the lyrics and just incorporating more of like bigger views.
Do you think
Hopefully you can sing more too.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great to have, especially a lot of the stuff that like it's deeper meanings to you.
Yeah.
I can feel it. Sometimes I feel like I'm channeling your inner self.
So you're saying that like the lyrics are now starting to be more about like your philosophy and your changing philosophy. Do you
But
think
also the alchemical process.
Yeah, and then the magic and the alchemical process.
Yeah.
Would you say the purpose of the band is changing, or do you think it's?
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
Bro, it's maturing and it's developing.
We've all become very different people from being like, not from, maybe a little bit from being a Necralant.
We were pretty damaged in 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, we went through a historical event together.
Yeah, you put out an album during there. I actually wrote in my notes like, how was putting a project out like during COVID in 2020 during like the height of the pandemic?
It was pretty easy when it was all him.
Yeah, I was writing everything on my own, just like in my room, like 15 during the whole pandemic, and then once things started to like be a little more lax with the regulations and stuff, we were able to hit the studio and record it.
Yeah, he just reached out to me. It's not impossible, you know. You just gotta reach out, right time, right place, have demos. He sent me mad riffs. Started with a logo, actually.
Yeah.
You drew the logo first?
I did.
Yeah, Mark made the logo for me, and then we got in collaboration in that way, and then ended up, when I decided that I want someone else to do the vocals, I put something out saying I was looking for somebody to do it, so Mark messaged me and said that they would do it, and also record the album and release it on Upside. So then that's when we started making plans to come in here and record a few months after that.
Yeah.
Alright. You do all the graphics for Upside, or at least a lot of them, right?
For Upside, yeah. I mean, Austin from Mork Burden does a lot of them, too. He's a talented young man. Can't wait to see where that kid who he grows into.
You definitely have like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like when I see a piece of art online or on Instagram when I'm scrolling, like I immediately, before I see like the Instagram tag,
Distinct.
It's distinct. Yeah, I know it's you. I know it's yours. You definitely. How long have you been drawing for?
I can't remember. That's my whole life. My Mercury is in Pisces. I'm the dreamer of dreams. So I think in pictures. More recently getting into writing better. If you read a lot of my work, I mean, a lot of it's unpublished right now, but you'll see in the near future. I have a book I wrote in COVID, but a lot of my expression is through art. So a lot of those things I draw, I see in dreams or in symbols or in books, you know.
Is there anything that like you struggle with when it comes to like putting words down, or any advice you can give to somebody who's trying to start writing, whether that's songs or...
Draw from your dreams. Listen, pay attention to the things around you, and feel. But don't try. Just do. You know, be in the moment. That's how writing works. You can't be like, I need to do this. I'm going to try to do this. You have to just kind of like embrace the moment.
I I've put out very little of it, but I feel like when I'm trying to like write something, when specifically in writing, it's when the words come to me to like the easiest, when it's the easiest to do. And I don't mean that in like a lazy sense. I mean that in like it's just coming out quick. It tends to come out as like the best stuff that I've written down. Whereas when like I sit down and like don't have an idea immediately present, it's like such a struggle, and what comes out isn't even worth.
Yeah, well, I have a song coming out, a solo song that's literally just me screaming, "Ah, fuck my eye, I got stung in the eye by a wasp. Ah, fuck my eye," and that's all it is.
That's a solo song?
Yeah.
Is that for like a noise project or?
Yeah, you could call it that.
Hell
That's
yeah.
coming out on my birthday.
It's coming out
That's not Necralant though. That's aside this interview. But what I'm trying to say is like I actually got stung in the eye by a wasp.
That's
recently, and I was like, now I have to write a song about it, and that's all that was. Yeah, it's a noise song.
Hell yeah.
What I want to say about was that. I was gonna say about the lyrics and like where you're saying like sitting down and when it flows out like that. I found over time like with writing lyrics, like I used to kind of just try to sit down and just come up with a bunch of cool sounding lines and like kind of put them together. But like I found over the years that I really have to know what I'm writing about and have like a real intent that and something that I'm trying to express, and then it will really come out and not just be like trying to improvise with it. And then that's when I can really sit down and like write continuously, and like things will actually make sense and come out.
You guys are going on tour soon.
Yeah, it's
you
in
want
the
to tell me
works
a little
right
bit
now.
about this tour that's coming up?
Yeah, we're planning a tour with music, which is one of Mark's other projects, other bands, and we're going to be hitting like the whole eastern into the southern part of the U.S.
Going down to Texas.
Texas?
We're going to Texas and back. We're going down the coast, sorta, making like a U, coming back up. Really excited to play with Bloody Run in Philadelphia. Get Dangerous. It's going to be a lot of fun. Houston is where Colin from Half Mast, Wichita Hangman, and Now Music is from. So he set up one show down there, and we're like, fuck it, let's make a tour. Because we were planning to go on tour already, and it's like, it's just a straight shot down, like, adds, another week to the tour, but fucking sending it. We're working on it.
Alright, is this the furthest you guys have played away from Massachusetts, or?
Yes.
I've been to Hawaii, but that was just solo stuff. I was on vacation, and a friend hooked me up, play some shows. It was very DIY. It's nothing crazy.
Yeah, up until now.
Shout out Koo from Hawaii. I love you, my homie.
Necralant hasn't played outside of New England yet, I believe.
No, yeah. Oh, not New England. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we've played out of state a handful of times. We mostly play around Mass, but this will be our first like non-New England run.
You guys are definitely keeping black metal alive in Massachusetts.
It's the goal.
I can't think of too many other like black metal bands that are.
I can.
Shout out to Beneath Purgatory.
Beneath Purgatory.
Yeah, shout out a couple good ones.
Mark Verdon.
Shout out Mark Verdon. Number 6 album on Upside Records.
Diva Car is amazing. Prayer Position. Oh, we're playing with Prayer Position with Spectral Wound soon. That show's going to be fucking insane. I don't know how they managed to get all three of those bands together, but it should be illegal.
Yeah, we're opening for Canadian black metal or Spectral Wound at the Middle East in Cambridge on May 26th. It's going to be quite an honor.
That's pretty close to my birthday. I might have to
When's your
go
birthday?
up to that. May 10th.
Honestly,
My birthday's May 17th.
I never really listened to them before we got on the show, and now I've been listening to them every day.
Spectral Wound.
So good.
Yeah, they're really
Same.
good.
Literally, it was my
Fan.
favorite album released in, was it 2021?
Yeah. It's better than Temples
Favorite.
of Moon.
Yes, fuck Favorite favorite black metal album released in 2021, and then Nolan's like, "Do you know Spectral Wound?" And I was like, "Yeah."
And I was like, yeah, we just got an offer to play with them. You know,
Lost
they are.
my mind, and I was like, "Oh my god, yes, we're playing. I don't even care, we're playing."
You said Spectral Wound, and I thought it was Spectral Voice, and I was like, oh, I fucking love Spectral Voice, and I went and put on their record, and then I realized you said Spectral Wound, and I was like, oh, I gotta check that band out. Fucking hell, man.
Yeah,
Rip.
very good band.
Can't wait. Everyone's raving
It's
about it.
gonna be a
Everyone's freaking
special
out.
show.
Like,
That's gonna be a
Spectral
special show.
Wound.
Yeah.
We're switching up a lot of stuff for that one.
Yeah, we're gonna do a new set.
All right. You want to spoil something about that set or
New songs.
new songs?
Yeah.
That's,
Fuck
all,
yeah.
that's all we're saying.
That's all I'll say for now, yeah.
We might play a couple new ones before then. We've played Evil Starve set a couple times.
What's
Yeah.
like? Oops, sorry.
That was a huge part of the ritual we were doing. Too.
Yeah, that's a song that's going to be on the next release that isn't out yet.
The split.
So, yeah.
It's out on YouTube, I guess. You
Yeah.
watch the live videos from.
Yeah, it's like an unreleased track that's now leaked on YouTube from the live sets, but it's going to be on the split.
Yeah, I was just on YouTube and it got suggested to me.
You're
I was
this
like,
is
what the
nice.
fuck? This is nice.
What the fuck?
Let's see. So now you guys get to play in like a much bigger area within the U.S. If you guys could like go play a show somewhere outside of the U.S., what would be a dream spot?
Somewhere in Europe.
What's that?
Europe.
What's that place that's like
Oslo.
super Christian?
Oslo, guys, Oslo.
Vatican.
You gotta
Yeah,
play Oslo,
Nor-
Amsterdam.
Yeah, dreaming of
Fucking
Norway.
UK. We can play Fest in UK.
I'm gonna play at Hellfest or Wacken, one of those. Big
Wacken.
festivals. Yeah.
Walk
playing
in,
Iceland.
Bloodstock.
take us there, please. Someone stumble on this podcast and take us there, please. Because we will literally murder someone to be on that.
I'm playing Paris so we can go down to the catacombs, get some cool pictures on the ground with all the walls
we
made
could
of
go
skulls and
visit
bones.
Maxine Tacardi.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of. I went to Paris somewhat recently. I had a bunch of footage of the catacombs that I lost when my hard drive fucking broke
Oh.
recently.
You gotta come back with us then and get some footage down
I
there.
will. Right. Shout out the hard drive repair GoFundMe I have going right now. I'm gonna throw that down in the description so everybody listening.
Yeah,
can
Go
donate $1.
give our friends money.
Or you can buy a patch on the on bughead.org. Check it out. I meant to bring you guys some patches, but I was like rushing around today and just wasn't able to
Rude.
grab a handful. I'm sorry.
I'll buy some on the website.
Hell yeah,
Oh, yeah.
thank you, dude.
You're welcome.
All right. Uh-oh. I'm out of notes.
Time to get creative.
Yeah, time to get creative. So you guys keep talking about how a lot of what you do as Necralant is casting magic, casting spells. What is the intention with these spells?
Well, the alchemical process is 4 stages.
Mm-hmm.
And those 4 stages are represented by colors: black, white, yellow, and then red. Red being mercury, and so it's basically black being death.
Mm-hmm.
Like as in the death card. And then
Sorry, when you said Mercury, I could think of that stupid radio commercial. I was like, don't throw Mercury in the trash. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
No, I know.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Don't throw mercury in the trash.
Yeah, guys.
Yeah, play with it in your hands as much as you can and use it to tan hats so you go crazy.
The idea is you want to like switch it between both hands while looking at it until
Yeah.
it absorbs into your skin and there's none left. And
Or you
then
could just eat it.
that's too quick. That like
That's
you know
too
you need to take your time with it, enjoy the process, or it's not gonna give you superpowers.
You definitely want the superpowers. That's the whole goal of the alchemical process.
Just like drinking mercury out of the thermometer. That's fun and all, but it's not doesn't achieve much.
Yeah.
It's just a nice little snack.
Basically, it's
Just like the spine.
night, moon,
Mm-hmm.
sun, Mercury. And if you can take control of those four things, Carl Jung says it's the process of individuation, which is like both a psychological thing and a magical thing. And you can use symbols and invocations and words and, you know, all of this flair, the light show, to you know, really manifest those things that you want out of Mercury, your magnum opus, or your Philosopher's Stone, you know. And then you can ascend to even higher, like, magic, you know. You got low magic, which is like demons and shit. But then you got high magic, which is like hard to explain, but for dummies, it's like improving yourself and your soul, who you are.
Yeah.
Enlightened consciousness.
Yeah, I guess overall the intent or the goal was, would you say, self-development or progression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But equally as much so, you know, manifesting a new record, for example, you know, like a magnum opus in real life. So that should reflect the process that we're experiencing in ourselves. You know, that's the goal for music too. Like, that's the whole idea of this tour, is that we're on this like process together. We might as well make the tour together and like make the journey together. It's a big bonding process, you know. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of fucking work, both the tour and the process of magic. It's a sacrifice.
What goes on outside of the music that adds to these magic spells?
A lot of research and a lot of it's hard to explain. A lot of dreaming, really.
Meditation.
There's a lot of things you can look into that, and there's a million different, you know, sects of religions and philosophies that use magic in their processes of reaching enlightenment. The goal is always the same, though. You know, of a magnum opus, or just magnum opus in general. It's a cult for a reason, though. Kind of gotta look into it yourself. Nobody's gonna tell you what to do, except those like people on YouTube.
Do they know what they're talking about? Or?
I mean, sometimes they know what they're talking about. Other times they're just trying. The goal is to do it inside of yourself, and you can do that with people, like people you care about. It's a lot of psychology. It's a lot of borderline religion.
All right. I can tell you're like dying to just talk about bands you like. Do you guys want to go into some of your influences when it comes to, or what got you into playing whatever?
Depressive black metal.
Depressive black metal.
I have mental illness. It helps me a lot.
I remember you said Zaster was one of your like introductions to this genre.
I fucking love
I
Zaster.
fucking love Zaster so much, dude. That's like.
I want to play a show with Zaster so bad, but
Does he play shows?
He does like folk stuff now.
I know he's doing more like different genres, but does he ever perform? I
think he does like
the
things.
Occasional local show.
Yeah, I have no idea honestly, but I've seen videos of him playing with like 2 or 3 other people, all doing like acoustic stuff. It's really cool. Sounds a lot like his newest records. Not why I love Zaster, but I would play with him if he were to do stuff like that, because I'm definitely into, you know, more of the folky side of like the black metal aesthetic, because I think folk is another genre of music that has a lot of atmosphere.
Yeah, I love a lot of the folkier black metal, but I feel like with some of that, sometimes you gotta like watch out for it being really Nordic-y, folky, and then like
I'm not a fan of that stuff.
Yeah, That's the big issue with the genre, is like you gotta research every single artist that you're...
So I like noise.
Yeah.
It's very queer.
Yeah.
I like the dangerous aspect of noise.
That's always sick.
Like Hanatarash is like a huge influence for me.
Yeah.
But that comes more into play in music than Necralant. For Necralant, I really like Dissection. It's a huge... I remember when Nolan and I were working on the first record, we were talking a lot about Dissection, and I would throw Dissection on the radio in between, or on the speakers in between, like, recording parts, when we're just hanging out.
Yeah, Dissection's one of my biggest influences musically, and then also their approach to what they were doing, and just that whole thing, like, not necessarily the things they believed in, but more the way they believed in it and the way that they put it into the music and lived their lives.
I'm gonna need you guys to talk a lot louder now if that's gonna keep... Let's see. How long have we been...
I bet you that's Austin.
That's gotta be him, yeah. The
Do you want
blast.
me to tell him to fuck off?
Colin too. He's probably gonna stop.
Alright.
But anyway,
I will go tell him to fuck off, I swear.
If you want to.
I swear. I'm gonna tell him to fuck off.
Yeah, stop.
Alright. I think you were next. Yeah, you were going. You were talking about your influences.
Dissection.
Yeah, I was talking about Dissection.
Bro,
that
Dissection
one
fucks.
fucking Mayhem song, the one demo, like studio demo of Dead on Freezing Moon. That was the first DSBM song ever, and that's my shit. I don't really listen to Mayhem that much, but that fucking song, I play it all the time. Hardest song ever.
I gave away my Mayhem shirt last year. I threw it in the Savers bin.
Oh,
Because it
man.
was just like...
Was it the Shotgun Suicide one?
Yeah, it was the one that everybody has.
Wait,
Wait.
the one with the Shotgun Suicide on
No,
it?
not the Shotgun Suicide shit. No, what am I
I
talking
had
about?
that shirt and I gave it to my best friend. And he wears it to college still.
Honestly, whoever got that shirt out of the Savers got a sick one, because I also spilled bleach on it, and it looked sick.
What?
So,
I think I've seen that shirt at shows. The Spilled Bleach Mayhem shirt.
it wasn't that much. It was like a little splotch down at the bottom. So it wasn't the full, like, bleach job. But
Maybe
it
they
was...
were just like...
More cowbell.
That could have been him, or that could have been Colin too.
Alright, you guys got any other ones?
No one go. What team?
Yeah. Yeah, I can just list, like, bands that have influenced me, and, like, some of my favorite bands, like, for black metal. Definitely Watain, Armageddon, and Dissection. Those are the three big Swedish ones. But, Kraft, Hexen, Mayhem, yeah, Dark Throne a lot in their early days.
Late
Yeah.
Dark Throne for me.
Circle the Wagons.
Circle
Best
the
Dark
Wagons.
Throne album.
Let's circle the wagon.
Late Dark Throne is the best.
Emperor. All the clean singing in Emperor and Dark Throne is my shit. My shit. May or may not be in new songs.
I'm hyped
If I
for
can
it.
convince him to let me do it more. Sulfur Aeon. Sulfur Aeon. The fucking clean singing in that band. Fucks. Like Crowley. Fucks.
Fucks like Crowley.
Oh, yeah. I just really like Typo Negative.
Oh, it's
Sorry,
my
Mark.
girlfriend's favorite band.
I love Typo Negative. Don't even play everything about it. Five and a Half Rats is the band that we're doing the split with, and that's been like my band since I was 12. Like it's gone through lots of changes with me, the genre, everything. It's just Typo Negative worship, but like more metal. And I'm the type to take influence from literally everywhere, like Typo Negative, Squalor Grind, Mortician, like Dissection. I'm big on Dissection. It literally just comes from everywhere. Like
Lunar Blood. Shout out Lunar Blood. My wife's. My husband's.
It's hard to put a genre down on what we play in Five and a Half Rats.
Yeah.
I've given it some crazy names, like super long, unnecessary names, just
What's
because.
your one?
Oh God, Nolan, help me out here.
Well, currently for Five and a Half Rats, call it blackened goth metal.
Oh yeah, Black and Goth. That one's not as ridiculous.
Yeah,
There's like
before it was like experimental,
It's just
gothic,
it's
grunge.
death metal. It's death metal. I'm convinced it's death metal. It sounds like Mortician.
But that was only. It's like it's different depending on what song. I think probably the most ridiculous was blackened experimental industrial grunge. That's not a real thing.
Yeah.
That's
It's
not
death
a real
and
thing.
roll.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's there. It's my side of the split. The splits are very interesting. We're doing it in a very strange way. I'll get more into that after.
It
But
reminds me of Harvest Manipulation a little bit.
yeah, I can see that. That was like my introduction to this scene. But the split was written over a really long time. I've had the songs for a while, but like they've been worked on for almost 2 years now. So like they've like been changing and whatnot, and you can tell which songs I wrote like first and like which ones stayed more to the original riffing that I did for them, because they're very black metal and like sad sounding, more goth sounding, but then like the second song is like a pretty decent split between like death metal and like some kind of blackened something, I don't even know, some kind of black metal. And then the third one's also kind of interesting like that, but then like towards the end of the song it gives like that classic Mortician beat. It like it's got like the chuggy guitars. Yeah. And then we got like the is it pinch harmonics?
Yeah.
Death style pinch harmonics, but it's a very interesting journey. My side of the split's a little bit wild, while yours is
I'd
more...
call it death metal.
It's rock music.
It's rock and roll. It's all rock and roll.
Yeah.
It's extreme metal.
Yeah. And then for the Necralant side of the split, people can expect like it is a very classic Necralant sound, but I'd say musically and lyrically it's like Temples of Ruin, but deeper and darker.
I think it's
more
way
depressive.
more depressive.
It's way
Yeah.
more depressive, yeah.
Very dark.
Yeah, it's the ultimate progressive goal of Necralant, I've always said, was to go deeper and darker with each album, and to get to the very heart of my psyche and the heart of hell, as Watain would say.
Yeah. Our split is being
of the abyss.
Yeah, excavating the abyss.
our split's being put out in a weird way. It's gonna be 2 separate EPs, one under Necralant and one under 5.5 Rats, and they're gonna have like different album covers because it's a painting that I'm doing, and
Yeah,
it's
but
one.
the vinyl's gonna tie it all together. It's gonna go all the way
Yeah.
around, and it's gonna be one disc, and it's gonna be A side, B side.
Yeah. But the
That sounds
painting.
sick.
Yeah,
That's-
I'm hyped about it. The painting
That's
I
so
have
cool.
is like a long painting of like one. I won't give up actually what the painting is, but there's one side with like some like it's like a foresty type theme. I'll give that.
It goes all the way around, and there's a monster on it, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. So
Keep
that's
it vague.
yeah, that's my part of it, and then there's another part with like an animal on it that like it's all one big painting, but then like for when I release my EP on, well, they're gonna be released same day, but like whatever. When we put it out, like my part of it is gonna have like that half, and then his part's gonna have the other half of it, and then on the CDs and like everything like that, it's gonna be all together, and like the whole, it'll be like the full split. It'll be like the full story basically. So very very interesting way of doing it, but I like it.
It's been cooking. It's been cooking
Yeah.
for a while
Yep.
now. This is
I'm gonna have to pick that up.
Yeah, it's the
I'm gonna
longest
try and look
anticipated
when that comes
Necralant
out.
release, that's it.
It's. I mean, I've had my songs for almost 2 years. We've just been working on them and changing them. Because I do mostly the writing for it, but then he makes it actually good. So I've had him for like 2 years, and we've been working on your songs for a while.
My
We've
songs
only
have been in the works for a while too.
me and Jack have only like just started learning them within like recent months, I'd say.
Yeah.
Jack. How do you go about writing your lyrics
Like
for your solo
a
stuff?
cursed ordinance lyrics. So cursed ordinance lyrics are very far removed from any sort of philosophy and whatever. I sort of use all the heavy metal cliches. Put some obscure song names from 80s stuff, Tank, Witchfinder General, whatever, and just sort of used a lot of heavy metal cliches and whatnot. So very different philosophically from Necralant or any other Upside projects. It's a very, very different band from anything on this label. So
I think it's a lot. I think it's pretty close to like some of the punkier shit on the label.
Yeah,
like
it's
Half-Mast, for example.
Yep. I would say it's close to Half-Mast, but Cursed Ordinance is it's on relative hiatus. But yeah, it's not. There's black metal tracks in there, but again, like Poogie said, I throw everything in there that I like. Traditional doom metal, I love Pentagram, St. Vitus, Witchfinder General. The thrash stuff, more punky thrash stuff, big thrash breaks, Sodom influenced. Just old fashioned traditional heavy metal, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, the best two bands there ever were. But that's sort of irrelevant because that stuff is very just me.
I like your album
I
covers.
gotta be honest, I'm kind of an Iron Maiden hater.
Yeah, no, so
I love Judas Priest. I've never listened to Iron Maiden and like thought it was.
Yeah, no,
anything for me.
Judas. That's good. I would say most people are Judas Priest haters and not Iron Maiden fans. So, but I'm like traditional heavy metal is sort of a dead among the youth, but I fly the flag. Traditional heavy metal.
Flag high, my man.
Yes, traditional heavy metal is my favorite incarnation of metal. It's the original incarnation of metal, but that has very little to do with any of this. But I'm super nerd for all that stuff.
No, it doesn't, because it plays a huge part in how you play drums. The way you play drums is so much different than the records.
Yeah, so maybe I'll go into that now. So basically,
How do you go about writing the drums? This is something I don't even know.
Mm-hmm. So I'll sort of preface this with, I've only been in this band for a couple months. I was a fan before. I'd gone to the shows, and I was like, hell yeah, this band's sick as hell. And then Nolan asked me to join, and I was super shocked because I was like, I can't play that shit. Whatever.
Was that after we did the Mork Burden stuff?
It was sort of,
we met Jack and started jamming with Jack because Spook and I play as live musicians in Mork Verdon, so then when we started playing with him, we were looking for a new drummer, and I was like, Jack would be perfect for this.
I said that.
Yeah,
And we both said it.
I was
I'm taking credit for stealing
That's what I
Jack.
love about this scene is we're all solo artists. We all have our own albums coming out separately and shit, but when we play live, we just fucking bring it together, you know, under whatever fucking name. It's usually Necralant for us. Necralant and Mork Verdon.
Gonna combine all the names.
Yeah, I was very hesitant.
Music too, you know, and then there's Judy. We're playing in Judy now. It's just so much. It's all like
Fucking Judy, man.
Judy's fun.
I love Judy.
Judy's so much fun.
Well, yeah, I was very hesitant to join Necralant when Mark called me and I was playing the drums in my basement, and I was like, Mark, I can't do the death metal hyperblast thing. I don't like that crap anyway. But I was like, I can't play that. Mark's like, we don't do that. It's like the most we do is the black metal blast beat.
Traditional blast.
So I listened to some of the songs again. I knew them pretty well at the time.
I was at a cafe that day when I called you. I was alone at a cafe. Mm-hmm. I think I might have been with Kate or Will maybe, but I remember I was at Lulu's Bakery and Cafe in Worcester. When I called you, I was feeling real ambitious. I was doing Bad Side Fest, or no, it was Mischief or something. I can't remember. I was doing some fest or something, and I was making mad phone calls. I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna ask him. And I called you.
Yeah, I was.
We were tossing around the idea, the three of us.
Yeah.
I was super shocked and very hesitant, and I knew it would be a rather big change, rather big commitment. So I waited a couple days, I started playing the tracks. I was like, yeah, I think I can do this. And I was very attracted to it because sort of people always say in interviews, like so many metal bands I love, they're like, oh, when you're on tour, what do you listen to? They're like, oh, we don't listen to metal because we're playing it all the time. I always thought that's ridiculous. But then as I've started to play in a black metal band, I don't listen to nearly as much black metal, and so I kind of understand. But so I was so attracted to Necralant in the beginning because they did have the skanks,
aspect.
the thrash aspect. So I'm like, okay, like I can't play in a black metal band that's just blasting the whole time. But
Can't
no
play
one,
in another black metal
Yeah.
band, so there has to be something else you like about
so
it.
there was considerable thrash influence, and Nolan likes a lot of the bands that people hate, like me. No one likes Kiss. No one likes
yeah.
No one likes Van Halen. So, but yeah,
Hate Kiss.
I was
I
like,
also fucking hate Kiss.
Fuck you guys.
Nah,
Listen,
fuck
listen,
you.
listen.
You like Kiss.
listen to Kiss deep tracks. That is early primitive metal.
All right. I'll follow you on that.
Early deep tracks. Yeah.
So
I
is
hate
Jimi
it all.
Hendrix though. Jimi Hendrix is early deep metal and noise.
Absolutely.
You
But
know-
people give Jimi Hendrix credit.
Kiss is a band that I don't like the music of them at all, but for some reason I just can't bring myself to like hate them as a concept. You know
Oh,
what
they're
I'm
so
saying?
bad as a concept.
No, it's so fucking funny.
It's
You got it all wrong. my
it's-
friend.
it-
no, I have
You got it
everything backwards. I'm telling you.
But it's Kiss now is just a money machine. But you
Yeah.
listen to those,
Of course,
you
yeah.
listen to those '70s albums, and there's some legit heavy riffs. Listen to "Watching You," "Parasite," "Black Diamond." There's heavy stuff in that, man. But yeah, basically, I decided I'll do it, and we did it. I liked that Nolan had thrash influence, and yeah, so that was sort of brought me to do it. And so, how do I write the Necralant stuff?
Yeah, this new stuff. How do you go about like playing it?
So Nolan gives me a basis of the beats, and I do my
structure.
best. There's some tough ones, like for me to blast in 3/4 took a good couple of rehearsals.
It's
and
tough
whatnot.
to go back and forth like that.
Yeah, but Nolan gives me the basis for it, and I go with the basis. I'm a pretty primitive drummer. I like my metal primitive anyway. But and Nolan definitely writes some non-primitive stuff, so it takes a little bit of adjusting, but I adjust. But yeah, Nolan gives me the basis, and I sort of jack it up, primitive it up, dumb it down.
Jack it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, on the first few albums, which this is why I thought originally that you'd be really good for the band, was like the first few albums, my drumming on them like was pretty primitive because like my drumming abilities aren't as good as like most or a lot of drummers. Like it's not super technical or anything. It's mostly just like skank. The one fill I ever did every 4 measures or so.
And it was
So, yeah, so and then so the drumming was pretty minimalistic on a lot of the early material when I was doing the drums on the album. So like I thought Jack would be good for that because that's definitely his kind of drumming. And like you said, it's what was the word you
The
used?
stuff Talus
Primitive.
wrote, though.
Primitive.
Stuff
Yeah.
Talus wrote is definitely the hardest.
Yeah, like if you listen to Essence of Life Devoured, that single Talus, our old drummer, played on that, and his drumming was very
Insane.
very
Oh,
insane.
he's
He's
Yeah.
a jazz
Crazy.
drummer. He's a jazz drummer.
And like a tech death drummer.
Yeah, he can
Yeah.
play like the entirety of that one Black Dahlia album, and like he can play death and shit. He's crazy.
It was very daunting.
Shout out Hung, that's his new band.
It was very daunting, like playing after Talus, because Mark said Talus is the best drummer in Massachusetts, and I'm like, dude, I only drum because I got it for my solo project. So it's definitely dumbed down and definitely like sounds like 1983 a lot more than.
But that's one of the things people love about our music is it like the old heads like that it brings it back, and the new heads like that it because a lot of the newer black metal kids with the corpse paint and the TikToks, they don't know the old stuff. They know the stuff like Death Heaven and you know the more modern myriads,
yeah,
as Fenritz would put it.
yeah.
You know.
I'm not. Let me formulate that sentence. Necralant feels like one of the few black metal bands, and it's specifically because of the drumming. It feels like one of the few black metal bands that I could like show my dad that he'd like register it as like still being metal music to him.
Interesting.
Sort
It's
of-
a good compliment, yeah. It keeps the metal in black metal.
Yeah,
And not just
Keep
black.
the metal in fucking black metal.
Yeah.
Oh my
Someone once
goodness.
told me his like stepdad or something described black metal as just really fast punk, and that it's not metal. But that guy's dad is a loser, so
Oh, okay.
or his stepdad or whoever it was. Fuck that
You
guy.
can say thrash is just really fast punk.
Yeah,
That's
little more
a
fuck
version
them
of
too.
it.
Yeah.
Thrash is thrash, not punk.
Really,
Thrash has things in it that make it not punk.
Yeah.
black metal is rooted in atmosphere. You know,
Yeah.
like you can play any sort of real metal and add atmosphere and call it black metal. To me, if you want to call Venom black metal, that's black metal. You know, like Sodom, Obsessed by Cruelty, that's black metal. And the Sign of Evil, black metal. Endless Pain, Creator, that's black metal. There's atmosphere. You know, a lot of that atmosphere comes from.
That's a hot take.
Yeah, it is, but that's definitely how I feel. Like
You're gonna get us a lot of hate now.
Yeah.
that's all right, but yeah, no, 80s, 80 first wave black metal is a fitting term because it was the
Kiss
first
was
wave of black
black
metal. But don't say first wave.
Ghost is not metal.
Ghost is not good.
Ghost is not metal.
Ghost sucks.
I don't care who will fight me on it. Ghost is not metal. I'm not saying good or bad.
I will. Ghost sucks.
Ghost has a couple
I don't
good
listen to
tunes
Ghost,
that I really like.
but they're not metal.
I think you and my girlfriend have like the same taste in music because you shouted out Typo Negative and you said you hate Ghost.
Yeah.
Those are two opinions that she loves to espouse.
Your girlfriend sounds like a pretty cool person. Shout out back to Jack showing. It makes Necralant so much more fun to play.
Oh my god, did you guys put those candles up there?
They were there when I got here.
Were they on?
Yeah.
What?
For context, to anybody who can't see what we're looking at, there are 2 fake candles on the stage that are lit or turned on. I should say.
Yeah, there's like dozens of them around here, but those are the only 2 that are on.
So we've been going for quite a while. Do you guys have anything that you want to shout out or anything that you didn't get to say during the interview that you want to say?
Yes. Come to a Necralant show and I'll run into the pit and beat the shit out of you mid-song.
They're so fucking good. You guys put on a show.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But don't stand at the front if you don't want to get covered in blood. Although we don't do it every time anymore, but people come up to me for
Gotta make
blood.
it special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Special.
Yeah, we're trying to.
Walk up to me if you
Very
want me to put blood on you when I
theatrics.
have it. That's
Yeah.
what I have to say. And don't wear white.
Well, we got the split. We don't have a date for the split, but we got the split coming out.
I'm excited for
I've
it.
got a solo album coming out on my birthday. It's a split with Utter Scorn. Check out Utter Scorn. They're really good. Shout out Bloody Run from Pittsburgh. Shout out Ends Embrace. We love Ends Embrace. Hopefully we can play with them sooner than later. Yeah. Check us out on tour. We're going to Houston.
I'll do my shout outs. There's a lot of good bands in Massachusetts to shout out, or New England rather. High Command, if you're watching this, you probably know who High Command is. CX, great 80s speed metal, a lot of in it. Great stuff. The Lousy, that's real, dirty, crusty thrash, lifeless dark, same sort of stuff. Mourn the Light, epic doom metal from Connecticut. That's also great stuff. Beneath Purgatory, we've mentioned them before. Fucking amazing stuff.
Fucking love Beneath Purgatory.
Thrashing the black metal.
Fucking day ones.
You listen to it and you'll be like, I know this is thrashing black metal.
Thrashing Blackened Death. It sounds like if Death fucked Testament and fucking
Dark Throne.
Dark Throne just like watched the whole time.
And then
Dark Thrones cucking.
Didn't even get to.
No, they didn't want to. They were the one that
They're
set
into
them up.
cucking.
They're the ones that were like, yeah, you guys gotta fuck, and then he watched the whole time.
And then
This got weird.
if anyone wants to I'll shout out just some of my favorite bands just because they're not underappreciated. That's kind of a silly term, but I'm such a nerd, so I'm gonna shout out Witchfinder General, Pentagram, Saint Vitus, Heavy Load,
Fuck yeah.
Sortilege.
40-year-old band.
Dude, I played with the Obsessed. Music played with the Obsessed.
Yeah, music played with the Obsessed.
Shout out the Obsessed.
Shout out Scott Weinrich.
They don't need our shout outs.
No, they don't. None of these bands need the shout outs.
Shout out Watain, shout out Walkin' Fest, shout out Obscene Extreme,
Shout out Chocolate Milk.
Shout out Kiss.
Bonginator, shout out Escuela Grind.
I was gonna shout out Escuela Grind. I was waiting to shout out Escuela Grind. You took it from me. I was gonna say Escuela Grind doesn't need my shout out, but shout out Escuela Grind.
Shout out Holy Grinder. Sorry I put those two back to back. Shout out Pain Chain. Love Pain Chain, Chuck Steak. Shout out Austin from Mark Verdon. Oh, Jesus Christ.
They can hear us the whole time.
Yeah, shout out Mark
I
Vernon.
didn't know that he was on the other side of the wall.
The great blooper.
That's fucking crazy. He's just fucking listening to us. He heard us saying shout out really loud.
Shout out the interviewer for liking Judas Priest. Greatest heavy metal band of all time,
Shout out
bar
Iron
none.
Maiden, fuck you. Shout out Dissection.
Shout out
Right.
Lords of Chaos.
Shout out the Lords of Chaos producers.
They played in the Sign of Evil, so that's fine with me.
Shout out to whoever chose a Jewish man to play Varg.
Shout
Fuck
out
you,
that
Varg.
Jewish man.
Yeah,
out
shout
the Jewish
out.
guy who played Varg for taking the role.
Shout out Roachcock, they fuck. On the floor of a dirty basement.
Alright.
And shout out bughead.org.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out
yeah.
Bughead.org.
Buy merch, buy merch, buy merch, buy merch.